The annual Catholic Appeal, continuing the tradition of neighbor helping neighbor, responding to Pope Francis's call to serve with love, serving our brothers and sisters throughout life's journey, caring for the less fortunate, walking with those in need. Make your donation of time, talent, or treasure online at diospringfield.org and help us to help our neighbors in need. Support the annual Catholic Appeal.
Coming up on this edition of Real to Real.
I'm Steve Kiltonic. It's been 12 months since Pope Francis took over the papacy from Pope Benedict XVI last March. I'll have local reaction to the Pontiff's first year in office.
Our Lady of Guadalupe Church reaches a milestone in rosary making. I'm Carolee McGrath. I'll have the story.
And the annual Catholic Appeal, making a difference through tuition assistance. These stories and more are just ahead on this edition of Real to Real.
From throughout Western New England and beyond, this is Real to Real, your window on the world around you. Here is your Real to Real host, Sharon Roulier.
Hello and welcome again to Real to Real. It's hard to imagine that 1 year has already gone by since the day he walked out onto the fabled balcony overlooking St. Peter's Square in Rome and joked that his brother cardinals had gone to the end of the earth to find a pope. From the beginning, Pope Francis made it clear things at the Vatican would be done differently. And true to his word, he has electrified the world with his informal personal style and his spotlight on injustice and the needs of the poor. Steve Kiltonic recently talked to some local Catholics to find out how the Pope is viewed here in Western Massachusetts 1 year after being elected to the papacy, following Pope Benedict's historic resignation.
When Pope Francis was appointed leader of the world's 1.2 billion Catholics last March, he became the first non-European pope in 1,300 years. The Argentinian-born pontiff was also the first pope from the Americas, the first pope to take the name Francis after St. Francis of Assisi, and the first Jesuit pope. Since then, the 77-year-old pope has charmed the masses with his gestures of humility, simplicity, and his care for the poor and the common man. During his brief time in office, Pope Francis has also become a media sensation, appearing on the covers of both Time and Rolling Stone magazines, as well as on the walls of the cobblestone streets surrounding the Vatican, where graffiti depicting Francis as a white-caped super pope have appeared. And Pope Francis is also someone who's not afraid to speak his mind. Last July, he shocked the world when he commented that gays not be judged. It's been 1 year since Pope Francis has taken over the reins of the Roman Catholic Church. But what do local Catholics really think about this humble yet outspoken man of the people, who seems to generate excitement no matter where he goes?
It's been magnificent. He is a different personality. Every pope that comes along is a different personality. And now you have the man in the street in Francis, who is able to reach out and touch people with the ability to say things that people need to hear, the message of God's love, God's mercy, God's care for them. It's been wonderful.
Bishop McDonald says that Pope Francis' sense of humor is one of his strengths.
If we're in the age of sound bites and tweet, he's got it down to a science. His one-liners could go on The Tonight Show.
As the director of the Catholic Latino Ministry, Andres Lopez has a pulse on the Hispanic community.
We are very pleased that Pope Francis, being from Argentina, we all feel some sort of relationship to him. If I'm going to grade Pope Francis, I will give it an A+, because he's trying to reform the church, and not imposing.
Sister Paula Robillard is the director of Faith Formation.
I knew that someone who picked the name Francis would bring joy and peace to our church. And I think that's really exactly what the Holy Father has done. His sense of humility, his ability to welcome people, to make them feel at home.
On the campus of Elms College, the so-called Francis effect has been noticeable.
It's gotten a whole lot easier to be Catholic, to be able to be proud of that Catholic faith, to be able to say that there is a person who is in the position of the papacy, whom people readily identify with. And I say that especially with the young people here at the college. We notice that Mass attendance at daily Mass has increased since his papacy. There's more interest in campus ministry, especially among young people. I think Francis has excited a new period, a new beginning for the Church.
Elms College freshmen Michael and Julia both feel Pope Francis resonates with today's generation.
From the very beginning, Pope Francis has kind of showed us his humility in the fact that, he's with us. He's fighting this battle with us, as not someone on a superior pedestal, but on common grounds. There's no more thrones, no more tiaras. There's just a friend, someone who will walk with you like Jesus did.
I think he's doing a very good job of bringing a lot of positive attention to the church that I think hasn't always been there because of various scandals.
Pope Francis has built up a following of millions on Twitter, and his messages are retweeted more than those of President Obama.
He's utilizing technology and social media. I follow him on Twitter. I know he's taking selfies and just stuff like that I think kids really can relate to. Where I see it a lot is Facebook, and people who would previously post things about hating the church, hating religion, etc., are now saying things like, if I have any hope for the church, it's this man.
Father Stelzer says he never thought he'd live to see a period in the church with such renewed excitement and spirit.
Each day you pick up the paper, you don't know what to expect. And that's what I sort of like about it. What's he going to say today? And that newness, that excitement, I think keeps us all on our toes.
A Pew Research Center poll says 85% of Catholics view Pope Francis favorably. But it remains to be seen how much of a visionary he will become. However, one thing is certain in today's church. As Bob Dylan once said, For Real to Real, I'm Steve Kiltonic.
And for those interested in learning more about Pope Francis and his namesake, St. Francis of Assisi, a one-day symposium called The Footsteps of St. Francis will take place on April 5th at Elms College. Father Mark Stelzer will be one of the presenters. For more information, you can contact Sister Paula Robillard at 452-0841 or Ann Schwinn at 265-2575. And still to come on this edition of Reel to Reel, tuition assistance making an impact on local Catholic school students. And some Holyoke parishioners are literally connecting their faith with others around the world. These stories and more are just ahead on this edition of Reel to Reel.
The Chalice of Salvation, your weekly spiritual connection. I'm Passionist Brother Terrence Scanlon, your Chalice host, inviting you to take time out of your busy life to celebrate God's goodness with us each Sunday morning. This week we continue our Lenten journey and welcome Father Warren Savage as our Mass presider. The Chalice of Salvation, your weekly spiritual connection, Sunday mornings at 10, right here on TV 22, WWLP.
The annual Catholic Appeal, continuing the tradition of neighbor helping neighbor, responding to Pope Francis's call to serve with love, serving our brothers and sisters throughout life's journey, caring for the less fortunate, walking with those in need. Make your donation of time, talent, or treasure online at diospringfield.org and help us to help our neighbors in need. Support the annual Catholic Appeal.
Join hundreds of men from across the Diocese of Springfield and beyond to spend a day focused on God at the 12th Annual Catholic Men's Conference on Saturday, March 29th at the Bellamy School in Chicopee. This year's theme is Return to Me with All Your Heart and will feature a keynote address by Cardinal Sean O'Malley of Boston. Other speakers will include Ralph Martin of Renewal Ministries and Brian Mercier of Rock Group Ministries, as well as local singer and writer Vinnie Flynn, who will share his insights on mercy. There will be time to visit exhibits, to receive the Sacrament of Reconciliation, to pray, and to spend time with other men talking about their faith. Women of the diocese and beyond will have their time for faith sharing when they come together for the 7th Annual Catholic Women's Conference on Saturday, April 26th at Bellamy School in Chicopee. Noted Catholic author Lisa Henday, founder of CatholicMom.com, will keynote the day. Joining her as speakers will be Sister of St. Joseph Eleanor Spring, group facilitator at Western Mass Regional Women's Correctional Center, whose topic will be the God of Surprises, and author Carrie Weber, managing editor of America Magazine, who will speak about mercy in the city. For more information on the Women's Conference, call 452-0812. For the men's, call 549-0300, extension 12, or log on to iobserve.org and look for the hot link to the men's and women's conferences. Sign up now.
I'm Dan Dumas with your Reel-to-Reel news brief. This past week, the Catholic bishops of Massachusetts issued a joint statement urging state leaders to raise the minimum wage. The 460-word document released on Wednesday calls attention to the fact that the state's minimum wage has not increased since 2008, despite the fact that the cost of living has steadily gone up. Currently set at just $8 an hour, this means someone working full-time would only earn $16,640, well below the poverty line for a family of 4. While the bishops did not propose a new rate, they did state, the cost for the basic necessities of life continue to escalate year after year. Low-income families are the hardest hit by these ever-increasing costs. It is the belief of the Catholic bishops that a raise in the minimum wage is an important step towards fairness and justice, and we urge the legislature to address this growing concern this session. You can read the entire statement online at iobserve.org. Meanwhile, someone who has spoken out for social justice throughout his long, distinguished career is Hampden County Sheriff Michael Ash. Recently, he spoke to the monthly First Friday gathering at St. Michael's Cathedral. Rebecca Drake was there and has our story.
Speaking to an attentive audience at the Bishop Marshall Center, Sheriff Michael Ash summarized the concepts behind the successful programs he has implemented during his 4 decades in office.
I like the philosophy, which has really been sort of part of myself and my entire staff, and that was always being firm but fair and having that sense of strength reinforced with decency.
A lifelong Catholic, Sheriff Ash also emphasized that respecting all human life is the basis of the mandatory programming he oversees.
Now, behind all this, you and I know when we talk about that firm but fair aspect is the idea about providing dignity and worth to every human being.
The sheriff was joined at the breakfast by Robert Connell, a former inmate who attended the programs at the Correctional Alcohol Center in Springfield. Robert told the audience that being incarcerated in the Ludlow jail became a turning point in his life.
I got there and I knew that I needed help, and thank God the help was there. Thank God for the programs.
Robert, now a student at Elms College, said the correctional programs helped him restore his faith and rediscover love in his life.
I only need to look back and realize that it was love and faith that I was missing in every mistake that I had ever made. Before with drugs and alcohol.
Robert now believes he can continue to make positive changes in his life.
Anything I can imagine. If I put my mind to it and commit and show up and make myself available, anything's possible.
And success stories like Robert's, Sheriff Ash says, are due to the lessons of faith the sheriff learned as a youngster from the Sisters of St. Joseph.
I like to feel that's how I've carried on my work, and I feel so blessed to be in sheriff, and I really feel that, if you will, God has played a part, in my mission.
For Robert Connell and many others, the sheriff's work has been a mission accomplished.
In January, Sheriff Ashe announced he would not seek re-election in 2016 when his term expires. In other news, parishioners at a Springfield parish recently reached out to a woman in need by donating items for her soon-to-arrive baby daughter. The baby shower was coordinated by St. Catherine of Siena Youth Group. Terry Hegarty was there and delivers this report.
The St. Catherine of Siena Parish Youth Ministry recently held a baby shower to not only restart the youth group, but to help a woman in need. Catherine Lupian, a 15-year-old parishioner, heard about a woman who recently came to the U.S. from Haiti, but then had to leave her husband because he was abusive. Catherine decided to appeal for help from parishioners.
I thought it would be good to bring it here so we could get a community service project going, and also to show to the youth that things are real. There's people out there who need help, and it's not just about ourselves. There's a larger cause.
In this case, that cause is an expectant mother in need. Monetary gifts and items such as diapers, blankets, and outfits were donated by both youth and adult parishioners.
And I really think Sarah's mom will be so excited and overwhelmed with all these things. I mean, all this has totally exceeded my own expectations. I didn't expect it to be this huge of a project, and I'm really glad that it is.
While the mother-to-be has to remain anonymous for her own safety, we know that her baby, who will be named Sarah, is due within the next few weeks. Catherine and others are hoping that the youth group continues to grow.
It's important for me, it's important for the youth, and really everybody, but especially the youth who are more influenced than everybody. It's important for them to come to church so they can keep their relationship with God and really not waver from it.
Staying involved with service projects and recreational events, the youth of the parish will be able to stay close to God and each other.
And we are told the baby is due any day now. We wish both mother and daughter the best and hope that the new youth group at the parish flourishes as well. Remember, you can always stay informed on all the happenings in our diocese by logging onto our news and information website, iobserve.org. There you will find up-to-the-minute and accurate news on the Catholic Church, both here in the Diocese of Springfield and beyond. You can also see video reports from Reel to Reel and from the award-winning team at Catholic News Service. That's our news and information website, iobserve.org. I'm Dan Dumas, and that's your Reel to Reel News Brief.
As we have mentioned, the annual Catholic Appeal supports so many different people and organizations. The families who attend Catholic schools in the Diocese of Springfield benefit greatly from the ACA. As Peggy Weber now tells us, tuition assistance is a very important resource for Catholic school students today.
What did they use to design the Buffalo High?
Many of the seats in these classrooms would be empty if it were not for the help of the annual Catholic Appeal. Shelley Rose has been the principal at St. John the Baptist School in Ludlow for the past 10 years and says that financial assistance for families is essential.
Well, we're very grateful. It means a difference between students being able to attend our school and not attend our schools.
She knows that families make many, many sacrifices in order to send their children to Catholic schools. But she said they think it is worth it.
We feel everyone should have a chance to have a Catholic education, and with that appeal, with the money that comes in, it makes a difference between some of those students staying and having to leave.
Of course, when one thinks about all the expenses of raising a family, tuition is another big bill. However, it is a bill that will be paid by families who see Catholic education as an investment and not just an expense. And in a world where moral lines are blurred, many want the clear message of Catholic schools.
The way culture is now and the Christian values seem to be downplayed everywhere, parents are looking for a place that they know that those Christian values are carried out the 6-7 hours that they are here.
Parents make incredible sacrifices to send their children to Catholic schools. And Shelley Rose here at St. John the Baptist School in Ludlow understands that completely. But she also understands, as do other Catholic educators, why they exist. They have in almost every Catholic school in the diocese this motto: "Be it known to all who enter here that Christ is the reason for this school. He is the unseen but ever-present teacher in its classes. He is the model of its faculty and the inspiration of its students. Franciscan Sister of St. Joseph, Andrea Suzuki, Superintendent of Catholic Schools for the Diocese of Springfield, said that the annual Catholic Appeal provides a great deal of support and gave $600,000 to provide grants for the Catholic school families in our diocese.
It's an amazing gift. It's, again, used throughout the diocese for subsidy to those parents who are in need of some financial assistance.
She said that her office and Catholic school families are both grateful for all the help that has been given to them by parishes and benefactors, but that as costs rise, the ACA help is needed even more.
Well, it means that we can continue to carry on the faith for future generations. It means that we can provide an environment where the church teachings and traditions continue to be integrated in these schools where our students are able to study. Given, again, the rising costs of education, which we are aware of, we know that in order to continue this great ministry of the church, and it is a vital ministry of the church, so we ask that every Catholic partake in seeing that we can continue this wonderful gift to the church and to society.
Those promoting Catholic schools in the 21st century say that Catholic schools will only succeed if the entire Catholic community supports their mission.
I would ask our donors to the annual Catholic Appeal to please consider donations to Catholic school education, because they then participate in education for today and right into eternity. Our parents do need assistance in this economy.
And organizers of the ACA stress that every little bit counts and that no contribution is too small. Together, the annual Catholic Appeal can provide a grant for a family so that they can provide their child with a quality and faith-filled education. For Real to Real, I'm Peggy Weber.
As you can see, the annual Catholic Appeal funds make a difference in so many lives of so many people. Joining me now is Stacy DeBurn, manager of the annual Catholic Appeal. Hello, Stacy.
Hi, Sharon. It's good to be here.
We are 1 week into the appeal now, Stacy. How is it going so far?
So far, we've had really good returns. We've heard from about 3,600 donors across Western Massachusetts pledging their support in about $550,000. So we're off to a good start for the first week.
All right, what's your message to people who haven't given yet?
Well, certainly there is a great need all over Western Mass for your gifts, so please, no matter the amount, please make your donation either through the mail or online at iobserve.org.
Okay, best of luck to you and the annual Catholic Appeal.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Next week on Real to Real, a young local author shares her mission of mercy.
You are watching Real to Real, your window on the world around you. Here again is your Real to Real host, Sharon Rulier.
Finally today, one parish in Holyoke has taken on a special mission to bring the message of Christ's love and mercy to others through the Rosary. And they've literally been stringing this message along one bead at a time. Carolee McGrath first brought us this story 2 years ago, and she recently paid another visit to the group, marking a milestone.
You need how many?
3 more.
Okay.
Monsi Fernandez works patiently with her 5-year-old granddaughter. The mother of 6 and grandmother of 10 truly loves children and truly believes in the church's pro-life teaching. She worked for years with kids, but these days her hours are dedicated to our Blessed Mother, Our Lady.
I'm not working, and I'm a very active person, and now because my back is bothering me and I can't do the stuff that I used to do, like visiting, like going to the nursing home and working with children. So I don't go out the way I used to. So I don't want to get bored because I'm home, I get very nervous, I can't stay still. So this is my hobby.
Monsi, a member of Our Lady of Guadalupe Parish in Holyoke, is a rosary maker. In the last 8 years, the church has made more than 165,000 rosaries, which are shipped to overseas missions. It's an incredible number considering volunteers like Monsi are doing the work. She makes 500 to 600 rosaries a month.
When I start, I can't stop Because every time I do a bead, I pray. I offer each bead the soul, like in purgatory, for my family that I don't know if somebody's praying for them, for my husband, for his soul.
Parishioner Bob Grenier and founder of Grenier Photography is the organizer. The parish works with Our Lady's Rosary Making, which is based in Kentucky. The nonprofit apostolate supplies rosary parts to groups and churches worldwide. In turn, those rosary makers send them to churches all over the world who face unbelievable challenges, oppressive governments, poor living conditions, and war.
I just got a letter from one of the missionaries telling me that he's now been moved from a place that I've been sending him rosaries to another place in India where he's establishing a grammar school, a high school, and he already has 1,600 people signed up for a college. So he's there building that. So he wrote to me and asked me, can you send me rosaries for these people? Well, I'm going to send them 800 to start with.
Bob says they also bring the rosaries to the homebound in the parish and pray with them. On visits, he brings the statue of Jesus the Listener, which is from the former Passionist Monastery in West Springfield.
I had the large one that we visit the sick and the poor and the people who really can't get to church. And it's 5.5 feet tall and a large body of Christ on it. And we bring that into the homes and we pray with the people.
Part of the CCD program at Our Lady of Guadalupe includes teaching kids how to make the rosary, but more importantly, how and why to pray the rosary. CCD teachers explain to the students that when you pray the rosary, you're asking Jesus' mother to intercede for you. Why is the rosary specifically an important way to evangelize and to teach people about Jesus?
Because the rosary is about Jesus and his mother. As you pray the rosary, that's all you're doing. You're talking to Jesus and his mother. And if you really want to get something out of Jesus, ask his mother, because he'll never turn his mother down.
17-year-old Eri Lopez is a junior at Holyoke High School.
It's important because we all need to be closer to God, and I feel like doing this helps me become more closer than what I already am.
16-year-old Crystal and 18-year-old Abigail Cortez also have a strong devotion to the Blessed Mother and understand that she brings them closer to Jesus.
I think it's important to learn how to pray the rosary because it's a sign of letting God into your heart. In the morning when we have our moment of silence, I pray and I say, let things go good today, protect all of us, and it just helps.
From living rooms and classrooms in Holyoke, the message of Christ's love and mercy is carefully crafted and packaged so that people in every corner of the world will know that God is real and that God loves them. Reporting for Reel to Reel, I'm Carolee McGrath.
Now that is an impressive group. Imagine all of the beads they have sent all over the world. And for this week, that's Reel to Reel. But before we close, a word of thanks to those who have made their gift to the annual Catholic Appeal. This television program is on the air because of contributions to this annual fund drive. In total, 40 agencies and services helping the young and old alike depend on the annual Catholic Appeal. So please consider making your donation today, as well as donating your time and talent to a local church, school, or nonprofit. Answer Pope Francis's call to service by being a neighbor helping your neighbors in need. And you can make that donation of time, talent, and treasure online through a link on our website at iobserve.org. There you can also keep up to date on all of the news on the Catholic Church in the Diocese of Springfield and around the world, as well as find daily news reports from our local Catholic communications team and the Catholic News Service. That's iobserve.org. Thank you so much in advance for your support of the annual Catholic Appeal. And join me again next week for another edition of Reel to Reel, your window on the world around you. Have a great week.
Reel to Reel is a production of the Catholic Communications Corporation, funded in part by the annual Catholic Appeal, and the support of you, our faithful viewers.